All right, facial media, woo! Facial media, socialist media out there. I'm Dr. Brett Spradlin, and we're going to see if we can get censored tonight. How's that sound? Won't you censor with me? Come, let's fly on a tree. Let's see if we can break the internet. Let's see if we can do that, because we're going to talk about some stuff tonight that is the review of everybody's favorite year, 2020.
2020.
Yes. And then we're going to talk about upcoming 2021 stuff, Super COVID 21, and how to get your name on the list for the vaccine for that. That'll be great. I can't wait. And I'm sorry, I got distracted by the raucous crowd. I'm Dr. Brett Spradlin. This is the raucous crowd.
Oh, yeah.
And we are Divine Design Natural Health. And we like to have fun here because you know what? It looks like the world's falling apart. It sure does. But we like to have fun while it burns. So here is spring 2021. Well works. Everybody in class, pull this out. Circle the ones that you're going to come to, and circle the ones that you're not going to come to. Because today is January 11th, 2021. Hindsight is 2020, the next wave. That's what we're talking about tonight. What's happening in 2 weeks? I'll tell you, save your life ahead of time. That's going to be something dealing with some methods to relieve the reliance upon Big Pharma and their jabs. February 8th, We Heart You Too. That's a week before Valentine's Day, so you can understand what your heart does and why heart disease is the leading killer in the United States and why everything in the world is meant to damage your heart. February 22nd, we're going to talk how essentially rewarding essential oils are. March 1st, artificial or natural health. We're going to talk about trends in healthcare. How many of you know most of the big trends in healthcare coming up are all having to do with artificial intelligence, implants, changing you from man to machine. So we're going to talk about artificial or natural. Which one do you want? Because how many of you know there's only there's two directions in the road. One fork in the road is pharmaceutical. The other fork in the road is natural. That's it. End of story. Drop the mic, walk off stage, done deal. There is no middle ground. Not anymore. So artificial or natural, that's going to be part one of a series we're going to start doing. That's just too much information, so it's not something that we're going to be able to put into one class. March 15th, plant power for the next plague. When you need to fight off your zombie neighbors, you want plants. Plants are going to always be around because the sunlight will not go away, at least not until the sun is darkened and the moon is blood red. March 22nd, Divine Design Movie Night, feature presentation with Q&A. We're still working on what that movie night's going to be, but last quarter and the quarter before that, we did Vaxxed 2. We had killer turnouts, not like zombie turnouts, but a lot of people showed up. And we had great turnouts, and so we decided, why don't we do more of those? Disseminates a lot of information to people, and it's just stuff that people aren't going to watch on their own. You know, movies about what's happening in the world medically, they're not going to watch on their own. It's too deep and dark and heavy. And then on March 29th, the mystery speaker panel discussion. So get one of these before you leave. We're going to have a mystery speaker or a panel discussion or a mystery speaker. We're just going to have a panel discussion of mystery speakers. And you're not going to know at all what they're saying. It's going to be too many topics. So save your life ahead of time. 2 weeks from tonight, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. What is happening right now, and I'm going to get right into this because we do not have time to mess around. I'm going to be reading a lot of stuff to you tonight. We're going to be watching one video. We're out of here 7:15 tops. If you have a turkey in the oven or you got to get out of here and go home and kick somebody in the face, you can leave whenever you want. It will not offend me, I can promise. So what is happening right now is it's not Democrats versus Republicans. It's not, white people versus black people. It's not, conservatives versus liberal. It's not any of that. It's a wider angled assault on any other viewpoint of speech that veers from the mainstream narrative that is echoed by very, very evil elite people. And they are made up of donkeys and elephants. So it has nothing to do with the donkeys and elephants. Do not be deceived. It has everything to do with a battle between light and dark. It has everything to do with a battle between God and Satan. How do I know? I'll show it. I'll prove it to you. If you don't believe me, you're going to believe it by the end of the night. I will remind you. Afterwards, stick around for Q&A. And do we have any winner chicken dinner spinners? We got a spinner. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. So with the events of all this last year, we kind of kicked things into high gear, and we saw this thing hit. We preached about this possibly happening at some point in the near future back in January of last year. But little did we know that 2 months later, all of this crap was going to hit the fan, and that the entire world was going to come to a screeching halt. Your church was not going to allow you to walk in without isolating yourself, pretty much peeing on your family, absorbing your own carbon dioxide excrement, and basically becoming a submissive slave. We didn't know any of this stuff was going to happen, that people were going to lose their jobs, temperature checks were going to happen, airlines were going to shut down if you didn't have a COVID pass. We didn't know any of this stuff. Well, throughout the course of 2020, we discovered that not only did people not have time to keep up with all this craziness, they didn't have time to keep up with the doctors being censored. They didn't have time to keep up with the HCQ stuff in the media. So I just said, right around July, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put something together every week so that our patients, the people we love and care about, the people whose community we're building, I'm going to put something together so they can get a broad range of what's going on without having to sit and watch YouTube videos all day long or read books or read articles or anything like that. So because when people are empowered and they're made aware of the real dangers that are hidden in plain sight, food, air, water, the fluoride, the chemtrails, all the crap out there that they tell you is not really real or it's actually helping you, which is a lie. When you finally become aware of all that, you can't easily be tricked by an invisible virus that just appears out of nowhere. Okay? People here, our patients, they know that our Creator's ingenuity is really greater than any chemical cocktail they can cook up in a laboratory. So we have a great bunch of patients here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We have a great bunch of patients here. So I said we owe it to them to protect them and their families. So we're trying to build some community here. So we prepared from July onward as all of this stuff was breaking out and all of this stuff was getting crazier and people are losing their jobs and their kids are having to go on Zoom and cancel their entire lives, and people are having to get, COVID tests before they get colonoscopies and all this, and before they get their teeth cleaned. That's the craziest stuff. People are having to get COVID tested before they get their teeth cleaned. All of this crap happening because I see a good chunk of people coming in here every single day. Hey, how's your job going? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? How's your family? What's going on with your kids? And I hear a ton of stuff. So I put it all together and said, this has got to stop. And I got to educate people so that they're not coming to me every day saying, well, my sister's got COVID and my daddy's got COVID and my brother's got COVID. And so that they have some awareness. So we've been doing that. It's been paying off, and it's been great. So in great appreciation, we started teaching classes like about mid-July. We started doing classes every week instead of what we had been doing bi-weekly. So what we've been educating people on with all of this is saying exactly this. There are only two options. You either decide that you are a sovereign individual and you have rights and you have, what's the word I'm looking for? Liberty, and you have sovereignty to decide what goes into your body. Or you believe that openly corrupt, fraudulent organizations should dictate what goes into your body. That's it. It's those two choices. You decide it's going to be artificial, kind of like the other class we were talking about, artificial or natural. So our patients need us, love us, they reacted. We had the biggest year we've ever had, only because we did these classes every week and we educated people. Doctor means what? Teacher. Everybody in this room knows. Doctor means teacher. Doctor does not mean prescriber. In the United States, you are wrong. If you think a doctor, a real doctor, is one who gives you drugs and surgery, you're wrong. You're deceived. A doctor, look at the root word of that, docere in Latin, says to teach. Doctor means one who teaches. Look it up. So that's what we do here. Find another doctor that does this. Find another doctor that does it for free. And find another doctor that does it with a wall of testimonials out there. We recorded a couple new testimonials today. So I encourage you all, think of somebody that you're going to bring 2 weeks from now when we do Save Your Life ahead of time. The subtitle of that class is Plant Medicine 101, by the way. So if you want to know about plant medicine and how to use it, boom. Plants are always going to be around. They've been around forever. So think about who you could have in this seat, in this community, in order to get them better. So for further inspiration and to illustrate all of our purpose behind all of this announcement, if you're not asking the following questions, perhaps you should be. Sorry, that made absolutely no sense. I read the wrong paragraph. Here. So here we go. This is a beast system. It's a beast system. I don't care. Your opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion does not matter. You look at what the Word of God says. You look at what the Bible says. I don't care your denomination. I don't care your theological background. I don't care. You could easily have a very well-versed theologian talk you out of this in a minute if you didn't know the Word. This is a beast system. The mouth of this beast is the media.
Yeah.
Okay? You've got, how? I'll prove it to you. Television. I just call it devil vision. I just tell people what it's a devil vision. But it's telling you a vision. Channeling. What is channeling all about? Programming. It says it right in the name. It's programming. It's programming. How do I know? What's another way I know? Well, it's media. What's the singular of the word media? Say it louder. Medium. What's a medium do? Communicates with the dead, tells the future, channels witchcraft. Correct? It's up to you how many hours a day you piss away in front of that one-eyed monster black war god box in the corner of your living room. But for me and my family, I am not paying a company to pump live sewage into my living room. I'm just not doing it, and I never have. I've never paid cable once in my life, ever. I am not having it. So some people say, well, yeah, there's this and that. There's good stuff. Find me one good thing on TV. Find me one. I'm waiting. I will wait. Very, very, very little stuff on TV. So this is a beast system. The mask is to signal your willful submission. That is it. That is all it is. It is not saving your life. I could teach class after class after class about the science, but people don't give a rip about science. How do I know? They don't care about proof. They don't care about evidence. How do I know? Supreme Court. They don't give two rips about evidence and proof anymore. It's all about their feelings. And when the media is telling you that it's going to save your life, or that you're killing grandma if you don't do it, or if Jesus would have worn a mask. If you're believing the media and you're ignoring all the science, independent science out there, you're going to be in bad shape. So the mask is a signal for your will for submission. If you bow for the mask, what are you going to do for the shot? What are you going to do for the mark? I mean, I'm serious. This is deadly serious, and it's getting worse and worse all the time. Families are splitting up over it. It's crazy. I hear all kinds of stuff. So if the courts would not look at the evidence of the recent election, the evidence does not matter anymore. Only the judge. Only the judge matters. Whose back pocket is that judge in? Just like you have to start thinking now, this is why the wake-up call comes. This hurts, it sucks. I hate to be the one to say it, but you have to start thinking. If the judge can be bought, can't the doctor at your walk-in clinic be bought? Can't the person who wrote that the drugs are good for you be bought? If the politicians are bought and the Supreme Court people are bought, can't the politicians that are writing the laws and voting on the stuff be bought? Of course, right? So now think about whether your information is coming from, and I've said this point many, many times, two types of science. There's industry science, and then there's independent science. So industry science is what? That's, all of the information coming out saying that this drug is good, for instance, right? That's industry science. It's industry-sponsored science that is sponsored. Let's say a drug company puts out all this money for a drug study, and the drug study comes back and says, yeah, the drug does exactly what it says. Perfect. That's industry science. It's science funded by the industry that made the thing being tested. Come over here. Now, this is independent science. Now, you've got PhD people, you've got master's degree people, you've got people writing their thesis, you've got independent laboratories who have no vested interest in this company, but say they take this thing and they test it. And they say, when we put this in a laboratory mouse, this is what happens. Well, over here, the industry people are saying, well, when we put it in a laboratory mouse, this is what happens. You've got two conflicting stories. Who paid for what? Over here is paid for by the company that made the crap. Over here, you've got independent people who have no vested interest. Do the same thing with your media, do the same thing with your books, do the same thing with your theology, and tell me you don't come up with some different answers, okay? So it's time that you start realizing that your information is coming from industry people or independent people, and the industry people have a vested interest, okay? Scientists, reporters, theologians, you now know you have paid off politicians, courts, and judges. So can you not see your reporters, scientists, basketball players, media people, theologians similarly being paid off? Let's play this video and tell me tell me what you get out of this. Now, hold on. I'm going to explain what this is to you. This is a 2.5-minute long commercial. Okay, this is big. This is brand new. I just saw it when I was home for Thanksgiving and or Christmas, okay? I'll tell you what happens just because it's so unbelievable. You'll want to go back and rewatch it again because you can't get it. So Satan, this is a commercial on TV. Satan is, how many of you have seen this commercial? Match.com? This is disturbing. This is sickening. So this is a brand new commercial, Match.com. Here's the 99-cent version. Satan sitting in his humble abode down in hell on his throne. This is on primetime television. And he's flipping through Match.com. And he comes across a girl. Her name is 2020. So when 2020 and Satan meet, Satan turns around and says, 2020. And she says, Satan? And they get together and they go on a spree through the city, no one anywhere. They go to a movie theater, they eat popcorn, the movie's playing, the movie theater's totally empty. She steals a bunch of toilet paper out of the movie theater. That's kind of funny, I'll admit that. She steals a little bit of toilet paper out of the thing. Satan's laughing, she's running out of the movie theater. And then at the end of the thing, after they get done ruling the world on their own, they're sitting on a park bench and comets, asteroids, meteors are falling into a city and the city's exploding. And Satan says, I just don't want this year to end. And she said, who would? This is the mentality of what we're going up against. Let's play that thing. It's unbelievable. Kill those lights, please. Darlene's watched this many times. Yeah, I could tell. 11 months ago,
Satan?
Hi. 2020.
Please. Call me 2020. So where are you from?
Hell.
Me too.
Pull me or save me. I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Juliet. You never have to be alone. I love you, and that's all I really know. I talked to your dad, go pick out a white dress. It's a love story, baby, just say
I just don't want this year to end.
Who would?
we were both young when I first saw you.
okay, kill it. Isn't that crazy? Am I the only one that thought that was absolutely out of control?
That is.
Lights, please.
No.
That's what we're dealing with. I mean, the society has been so desensitized to what is actually happening. Now, you got to think about the gaffers, the audio guys, the lighting guys, the makeup people, the costume people. Probably a couple hundred, if not $1 million or so, a couple $100,000 went into filming that commercial. Ryan Reynolds directed that, by the way. This is what we're dealing with. Like hundreds of people worked on that, thinking it was cute, thinking it was great, thinking it was cool. Now, think about your church sponsoring your vaccine rollout. Okay. Now, think about your politicians saying, "Nah, we're not going to certify. You know, we're not going to stand with obvious fraud. We're not going to." Think about your medical people saying, "Well, everything's safe and effective. You should definitely do it. Oh, and by the way, you got to take this shot once every 2 months." Okay, so we're gonna blast through this. This is a short list of big events from 2020, and this is meant to kind of relive a few moments of absolute shock and awe, which is exactly what that was right there. How many of you have seen that commercial? One person in the whole room? Two? Three. Okay, yeah, three. Yeah, is that shocking? What were your thoughts on that? 2020 and Satan hook up. They're both from hell. Oh, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but it's just the desensitization of things. How many people think that, oh, it's just a joke? We'll wait. Yeah, so let's run through a short list of big events from 2020. Some of these will blow your mind because you forgot about them. Toilet paper apocalypse. That's how it all started. And if you want to know from, what was it? A snake in the face was when Helpline 2020 is when we discussed like the future, like the World Health Organizations. Say what?
That was January of last year.
January of last year was World Health Organization when we went through top 10 threats to global health. I think it was 8 or 9 out of those top 10 threats to global health, the solution was a shot. Come on in. And then a few months later in March is when we did a snake in the face. That's when we talked about the outbreak of the toilet paper apocalypse. So some of this stuff you're going to have forgotten about. Toilet paper apocalypse, nationwide coin shortage. Forgot about that one, didn't you? Nationwide coin shortage. Coins just went AWOL. Had no idea. Sports events with cardboard cutouts. Remember when Satan in 2020 were sitting there with the empty stadium? Yeah. Impeachment of the president resulting in nothing. How many millions of dollars went bye-bye on that, right? Mask shaming of healthy people, which are now called a huge term that people just get confused by. Asymptomatic people. Look at the breakdown of the word. Asymptomatic. Symptomatic means you have symptoms. A means without. So what does asymptomatic mean? Without symptoms. So it's a very complicated way of tricking you into not understanding that that's actually healthy people. Crazy, huh? Election fraud happened as predicted. Predicted. You tell people the stuff's going to happen ahead of time, and they still won't believe it. It's unbelievable. And anticipated months ahead of time. PCR testing. Most people don't know what PCR testing is. We could get into it. Last class, I think it was part 9. Part 9 in December. Yeah, we talked about PCR testing. It's simple, very simple. Very, very, very simple. But, of course, they don't tell you any of this on the media. They just tell you cases are rising, cases are going crazy. PCR testing of practically everyone you know. And that little test right there, you can turn it up or turn it down depending on if you want the person to be positive or negative. Common people don't know this stuff. They just don't. PCR testing, we did that my freshman year of college in biology laboratory. That's how simple this is. The maker of the PCR test, who met a very mysterious death in September, by the way, said you don't use it as a diagnostic tool. See, these people aren't playing around. Disappearance, that is a beautiful voice. Man, that's a sexy voice. Whose voice is that?
I know, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Disappearance of flu and other diseases. You don't need to even be told about that, you know. Motorcycle accidents became CV19, right? Vaccine rollout, hosted by your church. Hosted by your church. All you need to do, I don't care, call me a conspiracy nut, say I'm crazy, just look at what's in it. And I've studied this. Half my life, I totally bought into shots. You can't even say the word because they'll censor you. That's how crazy this is. You can't even say the V word anymore. You'll get pulled off Facebook, Google, Twitter, everything else. I spent the first half of my life buying into it. Spent the second half of my life when I finally looked at what was in it, said, oh, wait a minute. People have a right to look up what's in here. And when you do look up what's in there, you will be shocked. It's not just somebody's opinion. Get away from opinions. Vaccine rollout, yeah, that disturbed me. Most people in the church have been praying for a vaccine, and we've got one here in town that will go nameless that actually had a 4 or 5 hour long line, I heard, and they ran out. So half of Cleveland right now has stuff in their veins that doesn't belong there, okay? Not half. Thank God it's not half, but more so than I care to mention. Leader of the free world, completely banned from social media accounts in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And people are just sitting by going, yeah, no big deal, thinking that he incited stuff. I won't even get into it. Widespread censorship of conservative voices in medicine. See, it used to just be in religion, see? But now they're censoring conservative voices in medicine and in religion. I wonder why. How do these three things go together? Interesting. Holidays canceled. Do you remember when Easter bit the dust? Passover to some bit the dust? And people were thinking, there's no way this is going until Memorial Day. There's no way it's going to July 4th. And I had a few predictions about Thanksgiving and Christmas, which I haven't changed much. They're word for word from when I wrote them back in March or April. And I will say, we'll get there in a minute. But holidays canceled and completely abandoned. Some people's families didn't even celebrate Christmas. Next, family interactions are limited or stressed due to varying outlooks on the pandemic. Nationwide 5G rollout with hardly a word in the media except for these fancy advertisements that tell you how wonderful it is, right? Harvey Weinstein verdict, do you remember that? That was big news, a couple of days. Resulted in the Me Too movement, right? All the sexual stuff coming out this year. All the Ghislaine Maxwell, we'll talk about her in a minute. BLM and Antifa destroyed statues and rioted in many cities, destroying federal buildings, by the way. Destroying them, burning them to the ground. Whole entire city blocks, right? No impediments. No impediments. No police stopping them, nothing. You got a couple dudes walking past the velvet ropes at the Capitol, and it's an armed insurrection. Didn't throw anything, didn't shoot anybody. Well, the good guys. I'm disturbed that people were hurt in the whole thing, but these people were out for blood. 24 Democratic candidates were whittled down to one shining star, who will go nameless. That shining star selected a California senator with laughter problems. She'll go nameless as well. She was arrested in July. Sex trafficking, once again, shows up. See the themes? It's crazy. Murder hornets arrived. How many of you got some of those? You did? Yeah. West Coast wildfires would absolutely refuse to cross the Canadian border. You remember that? Next. An unrelenting trailblazer for gender equality, as she was heralded in the media, vacated her position on the Supreme Court. Eddie Van Halen, Kobe Bryant, a bunch of famous people. Others passed away. Tony Rice, I found out, passed away a while ago. One of my favorite guitarists. Pelosi tore up that president's speech after the State of the Union. Do you remember that? Yeah, I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten all about it. I sat down, thought about this year, thought how crazy it was. You know, wow. Nobody could believe that happened. That happened in America. Everybody was outraged. She was blatant, right in his face. Remember this? 2020 Tokyo Summer Olympics were canceled. Forgot about that, right? Tax day was postponed. That'll never happen. Again, probably, right? Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and New Year's Eve in Times Square. Did anybody watch that? Macy's? Wasn't that surreal? Wasn't it? Creepy. They're waving. Their floats going down the street. And they're waving. Santa up on the waving at no one. Complete and total, utter insanity. And everyone was lip syncing. The floats are coming up, and it was all international. Like none of them, they were all singing. It was all international bands and people and stuff like this. Very interesting, but they would sing, and it was obviously lip synced. All the people I saw. Oh, and then there were a couple of bands, like marching bands and things like that were very interesting too.
Trumpeters with masks.
Oh yeah, the masks. And I didn't know that there was a completely and totally LGBTQ marching band. I didn't know that, of New York. I didn't know that. Schools migrated to online Zoom meetings. You'd have lost a lot of money betting on that one long time ago. Right, Jonathan? Jonathan and I just made a little wager back there. But face masks are now available at every gas station. HCQ, remember hydroxychloroquine? That rose up to the top of the media and was swept completely under the rug to the point where your doctor could write a prescription for it and the pharmacist who was paid to fulfill the prescription would refuse. Completely out of control. It's abruptly censored, has now disappeared. Any doctor who came out and talked about that, their website got pulled, they were discredited. Some of them lost their licenses, all kinds of stuff. Next, all right. On that note, how many of you remember fond times from 2020? Testimonial time. Commercial break.
Right.
Woo-wee.
So this one is actually from a patient who started just a couple of months ago. So this is a relatively new one from right before the Christmas break. She said, prior to starting at Divine Design, I struggled with a lot of anxiety along with low energy and depression. It felt like a weight was on my shoulders many days. And after one particular week at Divine Design, I noticed that my anxiety was significantly less. It felt like a weight was lifted. I then realized I had my first PEMF session, which is our pulse electromagnetic field therapy, that week. Now my anxiety only heightens under rare circumstances. I always feel like a weight has been lifted after every PEMF session. So it's great. It's great, support for the body physiologically, but also, psychologically, cognition, whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I can't think of anything that it can't support for your body.
I can't either.
It's super excellent.
Super excellent. I'm still racking my brain to find something that won't help. So that's why we have 4 of them instead of 1. We got our first pulse unit in January of last year, and now we have 4 of them within 1 year. So, well, folks, it looks like it's 6 more weeks of 2020. It's Groundhog Day, Bill Murray, of course. That's a good one. I like that. So 10 years from now, you'll put on a jacket and find a mask in the pocket. Oh man, what a weird year that was, you'll chuckle to yourself. Then you'll pick up your machete and continue across the wasteland, keeping to the shadows to avoid the roving gangs of cannibal raiders. So you've got Twitter, Apple, Google, Facebook. If you don't know what's going on right now in the world, there's a mass exodus that happened in October. YouTube, which is not even on here, canceled hundreds of accounts. People who had spent their entire years creating content, gaining subscribers, spreading information. YouTube pulled the plug, and Facebook pulled the plug on a bunch of people. Oh, and on October 15th, they just woke up one day and their account completely gone. Conservatives, Q people, lots of heavy-duty ministries, lots of heavy-duty like independent journalism. Recently, Google, some of you in the room probably won't know, Facebook, that happened back in October. Recently, Google and Apple pulled the Parler app off of their app stores because Twitter censored who? Twitter censored Sidney Powell, Twitter censored General Flynn, Twitter censored the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. So people started leaving Twitter in droves and started downloading Parler. Well, these Google and Apple deleted the Parler application from the App Store, so you can't even find it anymore. And Amazon kicked Parler off of their servers. Parler is an app, is a website much like Twitter, only better. I might actually use it because I never use Twitter that much, but I highly encourage you, hop on Parler. We're on Parler. Hop on Gab. That's the new Facebook, along with MeWe. So these are some entities known as big tech that are really, you're the product of these companies. What do I mean? They have your information and then they sell it. See, everybody thinks, oh, Facebook's free. It ain't free. You're giving them all your stuff. They know where you live. They know where you spend your time. They know how long you sleep. They know what you buy. So they sell all that to other people. And they don't like you. They really don't like you. Next. So how serious are you about not taking this vaccine? It's the movie The Patriot, Mel Gibson. Very good movie. If you do not know that movie, watch that movie, Mel Gibson, The Patriot, especially in this day and age. My goodness, what people fought for to get to this point, and where people in 2020 will just lay down and give it all up. Your ancestors would be rolling over in their graves. Our founding fathers, if they could see what's happening right now, would be shocked. Next. I think that's it, right? Oh, no. Be careful not to spread fake news. Leave that to the pros.
Right?
If you read any of these publications, you have to understand it's just like what we talked about. There's paid science, and then there's independent science. So the paid science, the people coming to you saying wear your masks, social distance, drink your poison, spray chemicals all over the place. Clorox and all of these companies are, they're writing contracts with Clorox to spray the tables down before you sit there. What does bleach cause? Cancer. We'll go back to some of my predictions that came out right when this thing hit. I sat down for a minute and I kind of thought, and as I observed some things for a few weeks, I thought, wow, I bet people are going to have hand cracking, dryness, chapping. They're going to have all these hand issues from smearing all this crappy chemical alcohol crap all over their hands. I haven't seen that yet, but I thought that was coming.
Danielle's having that issue.
Oh, so Danielle is? Okay, great. Danielle, perfect. Thank you for proving me right. She's rolling her eyes at the speed of light. Oh yeah, and people are being sprayed with chemicals at work. You don't even know it. The planes you're getting on, if you're still getting on the planes, they fog the planes, not between every, how do I know? I've got patients who are pilots. That's what I'm talking about. I'm listening. I got my ear to the ground all the time on this stuff. So pilots, they used to fog it. When this first happened, they'd fog it the beginning and the end of every flight. Or I would say beginning and the end of every day. Now they fog it between every leg of every flight. So the plane lands, they fog it. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Chemicals everywhere. Kids, what were you saying?
Children, they're the school system.
Children. Yep.
I mean, just coming in, going out.
Oh yeah.
Down.
Yeah. They're the seats you're sitting in, the tables. We went out. Yeah. Shopping carts. We went out the other night to eat, and I dropped some food on the table. And there's a day that I would have said, but now, not so much. Not so much, because I know what's out there. Next. Okay, so here's 19 questions to ask. When this first all dropped, we kind of sent out an email that had a bunch of these in there. We've reworded a little bit of them. We've reworded a few of them, but here, let's just review this. Why more than any other group are the liberties and beliefs of Christians under attack? If you can't tell by the name on the door, it's not my name, it's Divine Design. It's his, not mine. Why can you go to Walmart but not a church? See, so I kind of tend to focus on believers and people who know what's up in the world. Why can you go to a liquor store or pharmacy but not a salon? See, they want you not going to places where there's congregations and free thought being expressed. There's no communicate. They don't want you communicating. Are you getting this yet? It ain't about the mask. It ain't about the Dems or the Republicans. It's not about the GOP. The mask is about your submission. The mask is about you not communicating. Censoring. Why were some churches prohibited from parking lot gatherings despite attendees remaining in their cars and parking in alternating 12 feet apart spaces? Remember them when that rolled out? Why can't you have an elective surgery, but you can have an elective abortion? They canceled dental surgeries. They canceled breast implants. They canceled breast implant removal. They canceled all this stuff, but you could go still and kill your baby. The leading cause of death on planet Earth. Right there. Leading cause of death. And they want you bugging out about a virus. Yep. Why are the mainstream media presenting mere recommendations as overnight laws? Why can government officials get a haircut but not common citizens? That was before Pelosi. That was just a question. Why can they do it? But I noticed all the cats on TV, they had nice trim haircuts one day. Why is there so much? And then months later, Nancy went and got her haircut. Interesting, huh? And then blamed it on the salon.
To the liquor store.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. She stopped at the ABC on the way. Why is there so much fear for a virus that has a mortality rate of less than 1%? Next. Why have so many doctors been pressured to list this as a cause of death with completing death certificates? Why are hospitals paid more for these deaths? And I'm leaving out that word because I just don't want the AI censoring us. You have to watch what you're saying these days, right? We live in the Germany. I have the paperwork that I got in the mailbox that said this is how you fill out a death certificate. Make sure it says CV19 on it. I have the paperwork. What makes one person essential and another non-essential? That was something nobody had thought of before. Nobody had to deal with that before. And despite aberrations from normal, usually being referred to as abnormal, why are terms like shelter at home and self-quarantine being used to usher in a new normal? A new normal. It used to be called abnormal when something was not normal. Where have the flu and other viruses gone, and why have most other death rates dramatically dropped since the original outbreak? Why are they now telling us to wear masks after 2 months of exposure? Remember, they didn't say hit you with masks until May. Remember that? You're already exposed, man. If this stuff's really there, which hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod, elbow, elbow, if this stuff's really there, you already got it. Why are they saying masks should be worn when you know that cloth masks restrict oxygen and do little to protect against viruses? Where are most of the masks made? China. Where did the virus come from? China. What's the mask made of? Chemically covered cloth. Chemically covered cloth, and the chemical comes off, and you breathe into the hot thing, and you breathe. Every breath, you're killing yourself. Why did world leaders meet in China in October 2019? We won't even get into that. You need to look into that because you need to know what was up with that. lockstep. Just saying. And that was lockstep was not October 2019. But you need to know about that. Why'd the CDC have a job posting for pandemic relief workers in November, right before this happened? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Why are scientists and doctors being silenced and censored after speaking out? I didn't say donkey or elephant scientists or donkey or elephant doctors. I said doctors and scientists, right? I didn't say liberal or conservative. I didn't say red or blue. If they were saying anything that went against the narrative of the elite, they were silenced. Why does a eugenicist computer mogul dictate healthcare policy during a pandemic, and why does he want to mandate 8 billion vaccines? Do y'all know who I'm talking about right here? Okay. He shall go unnamed. How are ID 2020, if you don't know what that is, look it up, Agenda 21 and the Agenda 2030 related, and who stands to gain power as a result of this pandemic? Why are people being fact-checked and openly censored on social media despite our constitutional freedom of speech? Fact-checking just started from this thing. Fact-checking just started last year, okay? Oh, and here's a little note I made on the side here. The vaccine thing, just get this. I want you to think about this logically. Just think about this logically. The first Americans were vaccinated, this is a side note. First Americans were vaccinated on December 14th after the FDA approved the emergency use of Pfizer's CV19 shot on December 11th. The country's second inoculation, developed by Moderna, completely different vaccine, completely different physiology, completely different mechanism of action, completely different components, completely different compounds and ingredients, was given FDA approval a week later on December 18th, with states receiving the jab on December 21st. The arrival of the two vaccines, two different companies, completely different components. The arrival of the two vaccines, which were developed in less than a year after the flu's been around for 70 years and has a bunch of vaccines that don't work. We developed two vaccines for one thing within a few months, was touted as one of the greatest scientific accomplishments in US history. Now, you see the problem with what I just said there? Two different vaccines, two different companies. Are you getting what I'm saying? What am I saying here? All different components. One's an mRNA vaccine, one's not. What am I saying here? How are you ever going to track and complete an analysis of your results? You've got two different products made by two different companies. And how are you going to track your analysis and your results? It's a cluster. It is a complete and total, utter crap fest of what works and what doesn't. Are you getting that? All right, commercial break. And then we'll get into the fun stuff.
So this one is short but really good. She said, after I had the baby, and this was her fourth baby. She said, after I had the baby, my knee swelled up and was extremely painful. Walking was miserable and just painful. So you got to remember, like I said, this is her fourth baby. So she's got 3 other kids that she's chasing around. So, you know, a bum knee is no good for anybody, but especially if you've got 3 other kids to chase around. Yeah, exactly. Can't punt them if your knee hurts. When asked, how are you now? She said, Dr. Brett adjusted it, did PEMF, and supplements within hours. It was better. Harry I'm struggling on that one. 4 kids. This was, with 4 kids, this was exactly what I needed. So again, you know, for a bum knee for anybody is no bueno, but especially when you've got kids. So she can so that's another testimony about the pulse magnetic field therapy, which again benefits you physiologically, but also helps.
Yes.
You know, with stuff in your head too. Beating your children can't help for that, yeah. But it helps with cognition, rest, breathing, all of that stuff too, as the previous one.
Breathing, digestion, urination, defecation.
Yep. Helps
COVID
before and after. Yep.
Did you just sneeze in here?
I did not. Get the Lysol.
Here, open your mouth. Just kidding. All right, so then we'll go into some observations because we'll blow through these. The most infectious disease on earth is called fear. The largest coup d'etat in history just happened. This is right after it all went down. Hiding solves nothing. You got to stand up for the truth. This is the beginning of a plan that we've been warned about for 2,000 years. Government media are discovering how quickly you can effortlessly be controlled. Social distancing, face masks, toilet paper runs were suggested to you already. You were pre-programmed for that. Where did people get the idea? The media told you. Through the largest scientific indoctrination tool in human history, it's called your television. Multiple false gods of American export can fall in the blink of an eye. March Madness, professional sports, Hollywood, concerts, television, bars, restaurants, jobs, industries, and investments. Disappeared in an instant. It all shut down. Next. Faithful to fearful can happen overnight if trust is placed in questionable entities. I'll tell you what, a lot of the faith-based places I go have changed. Thousands die from a modified virus. Millions die from preventable lifestyle choices. We're going to talk about this later on because part of the action plan, part of the good news about some of this stuff is you can change this. It can all be changed. 3,000 abortions are happening per day. The lesson to learn is this: importance will be assigned by someone else if you do not. You now know more about your friends and family's belief systems, don't you? Oh, yeah. Are you surprised by some of the reactions to these events? I am surprised by the people that just bow down to this and believe every single word of it. And I'm shocked by the people who have awakened and gone, nope, smells fishy. Why is the dude in the pink sweater and glasses trying to put a needle in my arm all of a sudden when I just heard him talking about depopulating the earth a few years ago? People are waking up. People are waking up. And it's sad to see who's staying asleep. It's very sad. 70% of our, Jesus, this blows me away. You want to know what the problem is? 70% of our 17 to 24-year-old males do not qualify for military service due to ill health, and we're worried about a virus. That means 70% of your soy latte, skinny jean boys, do not qualify for military service because of their breasticles. Thousands of other viruses are not considered in the face of this. This leaves room for so many more vaccines in the future. Once they smash this one with a vaccine, guess what? Super COVID-21 on the way. Guess what they're going to do with that? And guess who's going to get it? And then when they have a diarrhea vaccine, guess who's going to get it? When they make a mandatory, you got a headache vaccine, you're going to get it. Think about this, people. It doesn't stop. Next, more observations. Places where people congregate and exchange ideas are targeted. Churches, salons, gyms. Notice the big ones that they shut down, right? Home Depot and Lowe's, though, are obvious places where people don't accumulate dissent since they're far too busy gardening and laying bathroom tile. The WHO and the CDC lie openly. They lie openly in your face about shots and pharmaceuticals, getting sued years later and paying a couple $2 billion because they financed it. They worked it into the price of the research and development of the drug and the marketing. They write a check for a couple billion, doesn't touch them because they made $40 billion off the drug. But most decide to practice 6 feet of social distancing per WHO and CDC guidelines. If you knew who was behind these two corporations, they're corporations, by the way. Corporations, for profit. I Don't Have Time has magically turned into award-winning flower gardens. What do I mean by that? All these people who, I never have time. Now they're staying at home. Now they're in better homes and gardens with their flower gardens. It's crazy. And then evil people in ivory towers, thousands of miles away, can send an invisible signal into your home to persuade you to house arrest yourselves by spreading fear of an invisible microbe that you cannot see. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Next, highway signs. I thought this was interesting. Say, do your part, stay apart, while 5G ads are promoting connectivity. Literally, I've seen this. I've taken pictures of that's where that came from. I'm driving and I'm listening to something on the internet. I'm listening to a YouTube thing and a podcast or YouTube thing, or I don't know, an advertisement pops up and I see the road sign, do your part, stay apart. And it's a 5G connectivity is the most important thing ever. I just thought, wow, that's got to go in a class. Boom. Hotel conferences, seminars, banquet halls are gone. With everyone on virtual video, every single thing you say and do can be recorded. You are now being surveilled and you're paying for your own surveillance, Apple Watch people. Next.
All right, so Sadie's joining
and we
me
forgot.
because
Oh,
she
yeah,
wasn't
kill
handling
that.
it out there.
Oh.
So this one's about digestion, so it's a little bit different than the previous two that I've read. So it says, prior to Divine Design, I daily struggle with nausea and indigestion, and I can never pinpoint the trigger. After almost 4 months at Divine Design and having just finished the purification program, which is a 21-day nutritional detox that each of our patients does, she said, I am not experiencing any nausea or digestion issues. I am getting my nutrition in line and love being able to eat without uncomfortable side effects. And I've done purification a couple of times personally, and it's extremely beneficial. My husband, the first time he did it, actually lost 19 pounds just within that first, 21 days. So it's super helpful. Yeah. And it's really not that bad.
Not that bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Quit whining.
Yeah, quit whining. Gosh, quit whining. It's so easy. How many people in this room have done the purification? 21 days. 1, 2, or keep them up. 3, 4, 5, 6 people. 6 people out of the, yeah. Super easy. People talk themselves out of it. Oh, yeah, memes. I stepped right over the memes before. Go back to the old ones if we can. 2020 was a strange year. Here's day 6 of 2021. I have a theory about him. I think he's going to be the greatest hero in history. Could be. Could be. Greatest hero in U.S. history. Oh, I hope I'm right. I could be totally off base. But we won't get into that right now. We'll shut the cameras down. We'll talk about it. They banned him from Spotify. What do they think he's going to do? Listen to Eye of the Tiger and get too riled up? So see, here's the platforms banning or restricting the current president of the United States of America, leader of the free world. Current president of the United States is banned off of Facebook, Shopify, Reddit, Twitter, Google, Twitch, Spotify, YouTube. Is that YouTube? Yeah. TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, and Pinterest. Wow. He's banned. He's banned from completely everything but Parler and Gab, and he's talking about making his own platform or his own channel. I don't know. But the mainstream media hate him so much. Why? What does he know that they want to shut him up so bad? They won't let him tell you anything. You have to think about this. Very interesting. And that was 2 days ago. Flu is low this year. Everyone's wearing masks and social distancing. So why is COVID so bad? Because no one wearing masks or social. See, it makes logically, it's no sense. Logically, just logically. Next, logic. You know, this is about vaccines, don't you? And that this is just flu. And then your neighbor says, huh? I think you're paranoid. Obviously a conspiracy theorist, the one wearing an entire full body contamination suit, right? Breaking, Trump supporters banned from owning pigeons in case they try to communicate with one another. Why would people want to stop your communication? Why have they historically wanted to stop your communication? Why have they wanted, why? Anybody? Sharing knowledge, truth. We got to stamp it out. They don't want you to get together. They don't want you to organize. They don't want you to congregate. They don't want you the power in the spoken word. Why are people wearing muzzles on their faces?
Can't hear them.
Silence. Silence, to shut your face. That's it. Yep, totally. And people are willingly bowing down to it and believing the nonsense. Next. Is that it? Predictions. So here's some predictions. We're right on time. Some predictions that we rolled out back in the day. And this isn't to like pat us on the back. This is just to say, hey, we've seen stuff like this before. And if you study history and you study medicine and you study a little bit of politics, you'll see the same crap replayed. Like what happened with polio is the exact same thing that happened with this. So I just took a look back at polio 60 years ago, 70 years ago and said, I bet I can predict some things that are going to happen. And look what happened. Spring break beaches in Florida, Rocky Mountain ski villages will be ghost towns in November, another flu season during election, right around the election time. I did go skiing a little while ago and I was shocked. You had to wear a mask getting onto the lift. You could buy food in the restaurants, but you could not eat the food inside the ski resort. You had to stand outside and eat at a picnic table. It was very interesting. And the people were jerks. The people were absolute jerks. The people would say, get out, you can't stay in here. They wouldn't even come up and say, hey, we understand that it's cold, you want to eat your food inside, sit down at a table. They had massive ballrooms with picnic tables and tables stacked on top of each other. Nobody could sit. Sorry, but don't the other places spray chemicals so that everybody can sit? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. And they weren't even cool about it. They were jerks. Get out. It's unbelievable. Another prediction. When the next thing hits, it'll be bad. And the people who didn't submit during the first wave will be targeted. We have yet to see. Because they had CV19, they had Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D, the Extended Dance Remix, Part 5. They had all kinds of, so who knows? But we got Super COVID 2021 on its way. Another prediction, increased exposure to chemical sanitizers will lead to breathing difficulties, soon to be diagnosed as. Increased use of synthetic masks will likewise lead to further symptoms, soon to be similarly diagnosed as. And then seeing how Easter to most and the 4th of July were handled, Thanksgiving and Christmas will likely succumb, moving purchases to online retailers more than ever. These things here, probably wrote these back in, I would say, June June or July. You just kind of project forward and go, okay, what happened when this and this and this happened a few years ago, and how did they handle that? Everything's moving towards Amazon. What company pulled Parler off their servers recently to shut them down as an alternative to Twitter and Facebook? Amazon. Next, some more predictions, and then we'll get into how we change this nonsense. Birth rates will dramatically decrease due to the lack of nightlife at bars and hotels, and also due to an inordinate fear of germs among even married couples. STDs and the treatment thereof will decrease as well. If people are afraid of swapping germs at the grocery store, they are not going to be overly concerned with procreation. And there's been articles talking about how to kiss with masks on. You can't make this up. Yep. My prediction, SIDS will all but disappear in the infant population. My prediction, the next CV wave will have a long incubation period, meaning you catch it, takes 10, 15 days, whatever. Between infection and death will be a very observable period of time. Watching friends and family die will inevitably, along with ravenous news coverage of mass hysteria, convince millions to take a vaccine that will change their DNA and make them part beast. Because we knew the first one was crap, so I thought, well, maybe the second one, or the third one or fourth one will be heavy duty, and it will be something genetically altered, biologically created in a laboratory that will cripple people, knock them down on their knees, and you'll see them just bleed out like Ebola right in front of your face. But I don't know. This is something ravenous news coverage, mass hysteria, convincing people to take a vaccine that will change your DNA. They had not even been talking about mRNA vaccines at the time. I thought, weird. But that's what this whole thing is it's making you into a beast so you're not human anymore. You want to know why it's unredemptive? You're not fully human anymore. That's why. There will be a need for those who are already trained to inject or pierce skin in order for the mark to be installed in hundreds of millions of people. Cue up the tattoo and piercing parlors who have been out of work for months and will easily accept the money to do this job. Your telemedicine via internet will undoubtedly be powered by the 5G smart grid as millions stop going to doctors in order to get home prescription delivery from Amazon's new service. What's it called? PillPack? Is that right? Say goodbye to pharmacists. Say goodbye to farm techs, and say goodbye to family practice doctors in the near future. My prediction, the airlines will compete over who is first to require CV19 shot verification in an attempt to virtue signal their love for humanity. In other words, when one airline says, yep, you got to have a shot, all the other airlines are going to bow down too. They're going to be like, oh, we got to be the first. Another thing, concerts will attempt to fence people in and then move to CV19 shot verification in an attempt to virtue signal their love for humanity. Everything's moving too. All these apps are being developed. Blockchain, crypto stuff is moving towards developing a blockchain mark for COVID Pass and all these other things so that you have an unchangeable, immutable record of your vaccination on the blockchain. Next. Here's why. You cannot get through to some people. Here's why. There are a few reasons. You are having family members who don't get it. You're having friends and family. You're having arguments with people on Facebook. They're saying, I'm first in line for the shot. And you're saying, you're out of your mind. I know. It's happening. Thankfully, I was able to inform my family, for the most part, my immediate family, because I knew what was up with this. And I said, do not go get tested. Do not get a swab up your face. Do not get a vaccine. Here's what's going to happen. Some of it was spot on. Some of it, as you saw from some of those predictions, were pretty stinking close. And some of it was, I don't think any of that was totally off. But here's something that you can put your money on. Write it to the bank, drop the mic, walk off stage. This is Honey Bunny. This is the home run right here out of everything that you're getting. I've said this before in previous classes, but people who are not thinking, people who are angry, people who are depressed, people who are road rage, people who just, want to see Trump supporters dead. I've seen, there's a prominent school here. I heard from somebody just recently, a prominent school, people at the school, administrators and things like that, that say those people who won't wear masks and won't get their vaccine should just die. I mean, these people, here's why they act like that. And here's why the dude behind you is having road rage when you're at the stoplight playing on your Facebook. Here's why. People are fluoridated. There is a chemical poison in your tap water that has to be filtered out. If you do not filter it out, you're killing yourself slowly. It is affecting your mental cognition. The other thing, people are medicated. If they are taking a handful of medications and pharmaceutical prescriptions, they are not human. They are not thinking like a human anymore. Get over it. You cannot reason with them. Next, they have a shot. multiple, many of them, being older, sitting there watching CNN, they're getting a couple shots a year. They're getting the shingle shot, they're getting the flu shot, they're getting all this stuff. They're glyphosated, their food's poisoned, right? So that's why all of this stuff that we're talking about is so important. That's why I say get somebody that you know sitting with their butt next to you next week, 2 weeks from now. People need to know this stuff. Are there normal doctors telling them? Is the media telling them? You got to want to know this stuff. And it's disturbing, but it's liberating when you know it and you can avoid it. They're cosmeticated. They're putting... I came up with this a little while ago. I thought, why have I never heard this anywhere? They're spraying crap on their thyroid and wondering why they can't regulate their own temperature. They're putting makeup on the sensitive membranes of their eyes and their mouth and wondering why their brain is poisoned. They're food sedated. That means they're eating chemical-laden, artificially processed, refined garbage food, and they're sedated mentally, physically, and in every other way. Spiritually, too. Hello. All this stuff affects your spirit, Christians. And they're irradiated. What does that mean? Well, they're sticking their food in the microwave. They're cooking their face all day. Or even worse, ladies, right? Or they're sitting with a laptop on their junk, and they're wondering why they're having a family, 5 out of 5 girls. Nothing against girls. I love girls. I'm married to one. But what I'm saying is, they're wondering why. People ask me all the time, why do all my friends only have girls? I say, well, I know 7 reasons. All of these things affect male sperm count, right? All of these things. Men, and I'm not saying you're married to effeminate men. What I'm saying is you're married to men who've been chemically castrated. There's a difference between effeminate and complete chemical castration, okay? So you have to understand they want fewer males because that's lesser armies, lesser clergies, lesser cops, lesser, have you heard of any of these people getting ushered out of society? Less firemen, less army, fewer people to fight. Fewer people to fight, less dudes. That's why the soy boys and the skinny jeans, that's why they're growing boobies. It's changing their testosterone levels, the plastics, the irradiated sedation, the chemicals, the crap and all the stuff. It's meant to stop you from being a man. So it is very likely that your coworkers and family members have differing views, at least in part due to the list above. That's original with me. You'll never see that anywhere else, I promise you. Maybe in some other way, shape, or form, something similar. So, okay, so what do we do? Well, we're planting a community. We're doing a forest, a nation of healthy trees that got to cover this earth with good news, God ordained for health and healing, right? So what does all of this mean? It means abundant living. So you have a choice, like we talked about before. Pharmaceutical road or natural road. A couple months we'll be doing that artificial versus natural. Which way do you want? Do you want electrodes in your brain with nanobots in your blood floating around, sending a satellite signal to the 5G smart grid so that someone 500 miles away knows your blood pressure, your heart rate, and the level of TSH and testosterone in your blood? You don't want that, do you? It already exists. They're just waiting for you to sign up for it. It's already there, right? So you can decide if you want, you have a choice. You have natural, you have artificial, or you have natural, right? So you can decide if you want prescriptions with a $5 copay. I only paid $5. Yeah, but you paid $6,000 for the premiums, deductibles, and everything else to get you there. You want some more help on that? Go back and watch What's Your Life Worth? A little class we had a couple months ago that has already saved people tens of thousands of dollars on their health premiums. So you can have a choice. You can have prescriptions for $5 copay, or you can have clean living with no witchcraft or media mind manipulation. You tell me which one you want. It's up to you. I don't care. So what do we do? How does this affect my health? Why am I here at a natural health place and you're telling me about the political, religious stuff that we just don't, shouldn't be talking about this? No, we're having a problem with things in the world because nobody talked about it. So here's what we're going to do. How do we fix it? Well, stop giving your allegiance and your DNA, do you know what I'm saying? Your DNA to this system. Do not do, by the way, 23andMe and your ancestry stuff to figure out that you're white. I can tell you that. Don't give your DNA to people, please. Just a horrible idea. Horrible whoever thought of this idea, Rockefellers. Same people taking your blood and selling it back to the hospitals, and taking the protein out of your blood and selling it to the pharmaceutical companies so that they can make drugs so that you can cannibalize other people's blood. Tell me this is not sick. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Stop giving your allegiance to the system. Resist the tyranny, right? Be hygienic. Don't be stupid. It's a shock that people started washing their hands because of this. Which is a shock to me, right? Oh, before we get into this, I didn't want to cut you off. We got a commercial break, and we got more memes, right? Sorry. We'll come back
we've
to
got
this.
One more set of funnies.
One more set of funnies? All right, and then we're done. We're right
All
on
right.
time.
So this one is kind of near and dear to my heart. It's not me, but because I don't have this many kids yet, but I can personally relate to this one. I'm sure that there are people in the room who can and people who are watching who can. She said, I never left the house without a panty liner because I've had stress incontinence since birthing my 4 babies. And this is a different person with 4 babies in the office. And she, how are you now? She says, since getting adjustments and changing my nutrition, I was able to have a dance party without a panty liner and not wet myself 1 drop.
Yay!
Yeah. So around here, we like to celebrate kids pooing and women not peeing.
Yeah, you don't have to go to your OBGYN to get that one figured out, do you? Nice. And you don't have to go to your pediatrician to fix your kid's eruptive butt, right? Next, let's go to the memes. All right, so we got child trafficking, we got war deaths, we got obesity deaths, we got flu deaths, we got starvation, we got suicide, and we got COVID-19 cases. Perfect. And people are flipping out. Everybody's yawning, see? This one, yeah, nobody's concerned. One of the biggest industries out there, bigger than banking, for crying out loud. Interesting. And the free-thinking non-mask wearers, if the free-thinking non-mask wearers aren't getting tested, then the obedient mask wearers are the reason for the rise in cases. Let that sink in. I know it takes a minute. I know it takes a second. Read it again. Take a minute. Think about it. I've worn a mask twice, both times to get on planes. I've never been tested, and no one's coming near me with a swab to put it up my face. I know some people have jobs where, unfortunately, that they cannot say that. But that right there is very simple. Very simple. Next. So you're telling me the same guy that said we can lower the amount of people on Earth with vaccines, not making a vaccine, and people can't wait to get injected with it. Can't make that up. He's on tape numerous times saying we want to depopulate the Earth. What does depopulate mean? Kill. We have too many people on Earth. Mr. Gates, this is him, numerous times, in public conversation with both. Later, people say, well, that's not what he meant at that TED Talk. Bull pucky. He said it to Sanjay Gupta, and he said it to Anderson Cooper. Go back and look it up. Next. I've seen him say it. I've seen him say it. So if I've got 8 guns and Biden-Harris takes 7, how many do I have left? 48. I had some absentee gun registrations. That's my favorite. Oh, that's my kind of math story problem right there. I love that. Common Core. You don't have any spare conspiracy theories? Mine are all coming true. Yeah. Not conspiracy theories if you've got the facts. I mean, it's not conspiracy theories if the bad guys tell you what they're going to do in their own book and you read their book and go, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. Get over it. People can call you that in an attempt to shut you down. Okay? All right. We'll come to the questions in a minute. So look, let's go back to what do we do? How does this affect my health? What is the big thing that we want to get out of this, right? Back one more. So stop giving your allegiance to the system. Resist it. Be hygienic. Wash your hands. Be careful of exposure because you've got increased antimicrobials. Everywhere you go is more chemicals everywhere you go. So you can wash your hands, but use your own oils. Use your own stuff. You don't have to use this chemical Purell garbage nonsense everywhere. You can make your own stuff. We use essential oils. Multiple ways to save your butt with essential oils. Halt chronic disease at all costs. I don't know how many people I've talked to since this thing rolled out. And they've got aunts or uncles or cousins or somebody who's chronically sick. You do not. You want to protect yourself and your family as best you can. And you do not want to, now is not the time to be dependent upon prescriptions. What happens if the pharmacy shut down? Well, you're in a world of hurt, right? So temperature checks are being required. Like I said earlier, I've had people come in and say they couldn't go to their dentist because they know what's up. They've been coming here for, 3 years. They know what's going on. They know what we preach. They go to their dentist and to get their teeth cleaned, and they can't get their teeth cleaned because the dentist wants the temperature check and do a COVID test with a swab in the face. That's what it's coming to. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what it's coming to. And going back to this one, I just left out one thing. This wash your hands, be careful of exposure to increased antimicrobials. Why do you think we tell people to do saunas and foot spas? Because the foot spas detoxify your inner organs and the sauna detoxify your whole body. So you're speeding up the entire process of detoxifying that could have taken your body weeks or months to do. You can do it in a couple hours. That's why we do what we do. It's not just some gimmicky thing. It is something that people can sit down on a foot spa and that cold or flu, those symptoms that they have are up and gone by the time they walk out. It gives your body a little kick in the pants so it can speed things up and expedite the whole process of getting out whatever needs to get out. So I left that part out. Avoid poisoning yourself. Nutrition is your best friend, number 4. It's the easiest, most affordable means to stay healthy. Easily, the biggest thing we do here is nutrition. Why? We train people how to eat. Why? We get people off the crappy food. Why? We get them on the good food. Why? That's the double whammy. Stop them from killing themselves and then rebuild their body with good stuff. Wouldn't you? Think about it. Your house catches on fire. What do? Well, the firemen come in, spray everything down, destroy things, put the fire out. What do you have to do after that? Carpenters. So you have to stop the fire, put out the fire, stop the bad stuff, take it out, replace it with good stuff, right? And your body will self-correct. Your hormones, your neurotransmitters. I don't know how many times phone rings, people say, can you test our blood? Can you take our TSH? Can you tell us what's up with our thyroid? Women, it's always, women, what organ is it always 99% of the time? How many of your friends, thyroid? Hundreds. You've been programmed to believe it's only thyroid. Guess what? What controls your thyroid? The rest of your brain. Your hypothalamus, your pituitary, everything. Why is it always just thyroid? We've been programmed. I know, we all have. So you can easily fix a lot of this stuff if you just stop killing yourself. How do you do it? Nutrition. It's the easiest, most affordable means to stay healthy. You're taught to say, eating healthy is so expensive and boring. Yeah, true. Both of those. Avoid poisoning yourself at all costs. Food, the air, the water. How do you do the food? You learn what to eat. You get rid of the crappy food with chemical stuff. Nowadays, you have to, see, this is how screwed up it is. You have to label a real carrot by calling it organic. Instead of saying, well, that's a chemicalized carrot. That's a poison-covered carrot. We take on the burden of calling it what it's been for centuries when they just started poisoning the stuff 50 years ago. It's unbelievable, right? But food, the air, the checkerboards in the skies, if you want to know more about that, when we shut the cameras off, we'll talk about the checkerboards in the skies. What are those? Why are they on certain days of the week? Why are they all over the country, all over the world? And water, how do you get the fluoride out of your water? We got ways to do that. Cleaning supplies, cosmetics can make or break you. So if you are using crappy stuff, and here, I'll list it. Anything Procter & Gamble, anything Suave, anything Ivory, anything Dial, anything that's advertised on TV, it is designed to kill you, period. Your mental health depends greatly upon those by whom you're surrounded. Relationships come in the toxic variety as well. So what if you're listening to good, wholesome, heavy-duty, I'm going to make my life better by avoiding all this nonsense stuff, but you've got a spouse or you've got somebody at home that's saying, oh, that's just garbage. Chemical. I actually heard somebody say, was it their husband or an uncle? Today they said, yeah, they got in a fight with their uncle over the holidays because, who was that? I can't even remember. He said something like, chemicals are good for you. Chemicals are good for you. Where'd that idea come from? One of these right here. Yeah, and chemical companies, right? Dow, DuPont, Pfizer. Next. So if you haven't already, start your health journey immediately. Big tech censorship has shown, here's the thing, I want you to get this. Besides that 7-bulleted list of why people are nuts, I want you to get this. Big tech censorship has shown its ability to block your access or to completely misinform you regarding legitimate sources of health information. I'll read it again. If they're censoring the President of the United States, you think you're going to hop on Twitter and find the magical cure for your psoriasis? No. Well, there is none. Let me tell you that. But big tech censorship has shown its ability to block your access or completely misinform you regarding legitimate sources of health information. How do I know? Go on Google, type in psoriasis, and see which one comes up first. Is it WebMD? Is it Hippocrates? What do they say to do for that? Go see your what? Doctor. Natural stuff can be dangerous. Make sure you check with your physician. Schedule an appointment immediately. That's all circled back so that you are constantly in a state of fear. Could be cancer. Next. Take advantage of what you have here. Our mission is to educate. I said this at the beginning. I'll say it again. Doctor means teacher. That's it. So we did a recap, a glorious hallelujah recap of 2020, and then we looked forward to some of the predictions that still kind of might ring true for 2021, and we said, what are we going to do to change this? That's what we're going to do. Right there, you need to get off of any type of chronic disease stuff. You need to help you and your family, because say crap hits the fan and EMP comes, here come zombies, and you and your husband, right? What? You guys don't believe in crap hitting the fan? What? Oh, here come the zombies. I'm just kidding. So say like you and your husband, you're healthy and he's sick. Guess what?
You're going to be carrying them.
Guess who's
You're only as good as the weakest link.
you're only as good as the weakest link, ladies. Come on. Right? I don't have to outrun the bear. I just got to outrun you as I kick you in the shin. No, I'm really mean that. Like, you guys have to be, now is not the time to be sick, weak, or diseased. Now is not the time. Now is not the time. And if you're sick, weak, or diseased, the big thing is you're not fulfilling God's plan for your life. Period. Because he did not plan that for you. You probably, 99% of the time, unless you had some crazy abusive thing happen way early, you probably did it to yourself. I hate to say, we all do that. We all do that a little, in a little bit, but more so if people have just been in a really crappy relationship. That's why I put that in there about the toxic relationships, because sometimes you do see that with people. Man, it was not any doing of theirs. They got handed a raw deal, So that's why I say that. So if there's anything you can do to heighten your family's chances of survival, I'm telling you, have food, air, water, fill your gas tanks, especially this week. Geez, between now and January 25th, 30th, fill your gas tank. Fill your gas tanks. And then some. Fill your gas tanks. Have some food. Have some water. Know how to filter your water if something does go down. Have some food on hand. Maybe some storable stuff. Maybe some protein powders and some collagen powders. That stuff will keep you alive for a long time, man. Make sure you've got a medicine cabinet, and I don't necessarily mean drug medicine. I'm saying make sure you've got herbs, and make sure you're boned up on all my patients here. Make sure you're boned up on all of your, stocked up at least, on all of your supplements and things like that. Because people are going to run for the drugs, and they're going to run for the crappy food. They're going to go for the Pop-Tarts before they're going to go for the kale. Trust me, except you. So that's a leg up that you have. So just make sure you've got plenty of, maybe have some cash on hand, maybe pull some silver and gold. I love precious metals. I love, get some crypto, get some of your money out of the bank. Dollars going bye-bye, we can have a crypto talk one of these days, maybe, about cryptocurrency and this and that. Just what can people do to prepare? There's a ton of things you can do. I'm not saying you have to live off the grid and be Rambo and eat deer by the handful. I'm not saying you have to pull their hearts out. And I'm saying just know how to survive. And that does not mean that you plant your food and have to be married to your food supply and you can't leave your house because you're worried about the deer eating the food. I'm not saying that. That's actually, some people just don't have the resources to do that. So what I'm saying is there are things you can do to prepare. There are things you can do to help your family out, and just do that list of 7 things that we just talked about, and you'll be leaps ahead. You'll be leaps ahead of where you were months ago, I promise. All right. Questions? Anything we covered?
You have one more.
Good to see you, darling. Hi, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah. Say what now?
You have one more group of memes to end on a
Oh, yeah. You guys want to oh, we don't have any more laughs? No funnies? We had some good memes today, huh? Say what you meme and mean what you say. Memes. Questions? Or observations. What are some observations? Did I miss anything during 2020 that we should have added to the list that you guys want to re-celebrate? Any big stuff from 2020? But can you look back on what happened in 2020 and go, whoa, I forgot about that. I totally forgot about the 2020 Olympics. You know? And to be so sad that athletes have worked for that, because I really enjoy what I do. The Olympics are pretty crazy. History of the Olympics, things like that. So to think that all these athletes would work so hard for their whole lives, to some of them won't be able to do. Yep, they'll be aged out of it. I thought, wow, that's just, yeah, I'm just, man, something's not right about that. What a raw deal. Yeah. If there are any sports I do kind of sort of enjoy watching, it's the Olympics. They're just, and the pride of countries, and when a country wins their first medal and things like that, just people coming from nothing to stardom, Jane, microphone. Yes.
Exhortation to buy local,
Oh yeah.
support your
Yes.
small businesses.
Yeah.
And perhaps we might want to start building a list of small businesses that we can support, especially food sources,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, great idea. Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't need that. Yeah, we can pass that around if anybody has any other observations. Yeah, local businesses that are
Made in America.
made in America. Gosh, I'm really trying to not go, especially the events of the last week or two. And I hate Amazon. I mean, I know it's convenient. I get it. Shipped right to your door a couple of days. But they've played their cards. Many times they've played their cards and they've shown who they are. And they've shown the pill pack thing was like the last straw. The pill pack thing was like, oh yeah, we'll ship you your poisons right to your door and make it convenient. It'll be labeled Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Huh?
They're doing that with birth.
Are you serious?
Making it free. I'll have ads on my Facebook all the time.
Free-
I'll catch me kids.
Free birth control. Ha! Yeah, they're targeting you. She can't have any more kids. Delete. Wow, no way. Didn't know that. So, yeah, Amazon, I'd love to get away from Amazon, So support local businesses. There are a lot of community-supported agriculture. What does that mean? The old school. There's a farmer, there's you. You go to the farmer, community-supported agriculture. Look it up on your, there's CSAs is what they're called, all around. And you buy a share of that farmer's production for that year or that summer or whatever it is. And you get just boxes of crazy amounts of greens and veggie stuff you've never seen. They get some of it from other farmers that they trade with. And then you get a weekly or bi-weekly, however you want to do it and however you want to buy a share. Just DuckDuckGo, Chattanooga, Cleveland, Tennessee, CSA. Sometimes they'll deliver to you. Sometimes you got to go to a certain drop-off spot. That's a great way to get to know your farmers, because guess what? If the farmer's eating that food, guess what? If the dude who grew the food is eating that food, I'll eat that food. Yep. He knows no chemicals are on it, right? He knows how it was grown. He knows the name of every leaf. Or you can do that with beef too. You can do that with beef and chicken and local people who raise chicken and eggs and stuff like that. It's a great way to do a relationship with people. It's the way it always was. Highly support that. Publix has a good organic section. There's a new Whole Foods in Chattanooga on Gun Barrel that took over Earth Fare, which I think that was planned. Yeah, Whole Foods is connected with Amazon. Yes, Jeff Bezos. Amazon owns Whole Foods now, by the way, if you didn't know that. But Earth Fare was shut down right after this, and then Whole Foods came and bought the same store. Interesting. I think that was planned. But yeah, there's new stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Publix has a good organic section. Aldi's are popping up all over the place. That's good. What else? So there's alternatives to some of the stuff. So that's a great observation. Yeah, go local. Buy local if you can. Yeah. Anything else? What do you think? Oh yeah, she just walked in right at the very end. It's genetic. There's no cure for that. Oh yeah, that is genetic. Yeah. What'd you guys? Observations, questions, problems, comments? Anybody? Let's give some free stuff away. How about you, Kim? Any observations?
Yeah, there's too many to think about right now.
Too many to think about.
Information.
That's what we like to. I'd rather.
Disagree with some
Yeah, I'd like to, speaking of you, look at that.
How'd you get my name?
Ah, you put it on the paper out there. We spied. We spied on you. But yeah, some freebies. So the big thing to take from this is get somebody here. Tell somebody about what you've seen. Tell somebody about what you've learned. I would much rather have people come and say, drinking from the fire hose, that was a lot of information. It is. I want to overwhelm. I want to give you too much. I want to give you so that you go home and just go, how do I digest this? Go back and rewatch it. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. It's free. You know, share it with your people. Go home and say, hey, you know, sit down and watch this with me. I gotta recatch some notes. I go fast because there's a lot of stuff we have to get out. It's more important that you get the main message than it is to get all the details to begin with. So I'd rather overwhelm rather than underperform with you guys because there's just too much that needs to be covered. I hope this is more valuable to you than the nightly news. I hope you get more value out of this than the garbage that they're spewing through the idiot box. So share this with people. Like it. Send it. Thumbs up it. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. There's more to come. We have an entirely new schedule. We did 36, I think it was, classes last year. We did 36 of these last year. So, hey, if you know anybody that needs a speaker or somebody to come to your family or your church or whatever and wake some people up, we did 36 of these last year. 32 or 36. I might have messed up. Because we did one practically every week. So practically every week starting in like June or July, I believe. So if you need somebody to help wake up some people, I'm your Huckleberry. So tell people about Divine Design Natural Health, Facebook, and YouTube. And we will have a presence on Gab, and we're already on Parler, stuff like that. So let us know how we can help you and your family and your friends and your coworkers. Cool?
Cool.
Dr. Brett Spradlin, signing off. Crazy crowd. See you in 2 weeks. Oh.